Single dad stops for woman in torn dress. She's the billionaire's runaway bride. The rain was falling in sheets across the empty country road, hammering on the roof of Ethan Cole's battered pickup truck. He tightened his grip on the steering wheel, squinting through the windshield wipers that barely kept up with the storm. His 5-year-old daughter, Lily, was strapped in the booster seat beside him, humming quietly to herself as she hugged her stuffed bunny. Ethan was a single dad, a man whose life revolved around two things, his daughter and his carpentry work. He lived modestly, paycheck to paycheck, and he'd long ago stopped wishing for grand adventures. His world was small, but it was safe, and after losing his wife 3 years ago, safety was all that mattered. But fate, as Ethan was about to discover, had a way of testing men when they least expected it. As he rounded a bend, his headlights caught a figure staggering along the roadside. The woman was drenched, her pale dress clinging to her body, the hem torn and muddy. She stumbled, clutching her side, and glanced over her shoulder as if she feared someone was following her. "Daddy," Lily whispered, her eyes wide. "That lady looks sad." Ethan slowed the truck. He knew better than to stop for strangers, especially ones who appeared out of nowhere in the middle of a storm. But something about the woman's desperate expression tugged at him. He pulled over and rolled down the window. "Ma'am," he called out. "You all right?" The woman turned. Even in the rain and darkness, Ethan could see her striking beauty. High cheekbones, emerald green eyes, and a face that radiated both fear and determination. "Please," she gasped, rushing toward the truck. "Can you help me? Just drive. Anywhere but here." Ethan hesitated. "Are you hurt?" "Not badly, She glanced back again, shivering. "I can't explain right now. But if you leave me here, I might not be safe." Lily tugged at Ethan's sleeve. "Daddy, we should help her." Ethan exhaled slowly. Against his better judgment, he unlocked the door. The woman climbed in, dripping rainwater onto the seat, and slammed the door shut. "Thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling. "You have no idea what this means." They drove in silence for several minutes. Ethan kept glancing at her, noticing the way she wrung her hands in her lap. Finally, he asked, "So, what's your name?" She hesitated. Clara Whitmore." Something about the name tickled his memory, but he pushed it aside. "I'm Ethan. This is my daughter, Lily." "Hi," Lily chirped, completely at ease. "Your dress is ripped." Clara laughed softly, though it was tinged with sadness. "Yes, it is. Guess I'm not dressed for the weather, am I?" "Nope," Lily said cheerfully. "But you're pretty." Clara's smile wavered, her eyes misting. "Thank you, sweetheart." Ethan dropped Lily off with his neighbor for the night, under the excuse that he had unexpected company. Then he took Clara to his small cabin on the edge of town. He offered her a towel and one of his late wife's old sweaters. As she changed in the bathroom, Ethan paced the living room. Something about Clara's story, or lack thereof, didn't sit right. People didn't just appear on lonely roads in the middle of storms wearing torn dresses. And the way she'd kept looking behind her. When Clara emerged, her wet hair falling in waves around her shoulders, she looked less like a desperate runaway, and more like a woman who'd stepped out of a magazine. "Thank you again," she said softly, settling onto the couch. "You didn't have to help me." Ethan folded his arms. "You mind telling me what you were running from?" Clara bit her lip. "I was supposed to be married tonight." Ethan blinked. "Married? Dressed like that?" She nodded. "Yes, to Nicholas Hale." The name hit Ethan like a thunderclap. Nicholas Hale, the billionaire real estate tycoon whose face was plastered across magazines and TV screens. "Oh, single dad stops for woman in torn dress. She's the billionaire's runaway bride Part 2. Life in the small town moved slower than anywhere Clara had ever known. For the first time in her 26 years, she wasn't being photographed at charity galas, shuffled into limousines, or handed a script of what to say and how to smile. Instead, mornings began with the sound of birds outside Ethan's cabin. She woke to the smell of coffee brewing and the sight of Lily tiptoeing in with her stuffed bunny to say, "Good morning, Miss Clara." Afternoons were spent helping Ethan sand wood in the workshop, her once delicate hands now calloused from honest work. And evenings, those were her favorite. They'd eat simple dinners together, laugh at Lily's wild stories, and sit on the porch watching the sun dip behind the trees. It was quiet. It was ordinary. And it was perfect. But peace never lasts forever. A father's return. One crisp autumn morning, a black car rolled down the dirt road to Ethan's cabin. Clara froze when she saw the familiar emblem on the license plate. "It's my father," she whispered. George Whitmore stepped out, his tailored suit looking out of place in the country setting. His once confident eyes were tired, his shoulders heavy with defeat. "Clara," he said softly, his voice almost breaking, "I've been looking for you." Ethan instinctively stepped in front of her. "What do you want?" "I'm not here to take her back," George said quickly. "I came because I need to explain." Clara's arms folded across her chest. "Explain? You tried to trade me like a bargaining chip, father. You threw me to Nicholas Hale just to save your company." Her father flinched. "I know, and I was wrong. I lost everything anyway. Hale pulled out after you ran, and the business collapsed. I don't blame you. I blame myself. But Clara, I want you to know, I never stopped loving you. I just let my fear and pride blind me." Clara's heart twisted. For years, she had longed for her father to see her as more than a pawn in his empire. Now, stripped of power and wealth, he stood before her simply as a broken man. "I don't care about the money anymore," he continued. "I only care about making things right with you." Tears welled in Clara's eyes. "It's going to take time, father, but maybe there's hope." Ethan watched the exchange quietly, sensing that Clara was beginning to heal wounds deeper than even he could reach. Trouble in the shadows. But Nicholas Hale wasn't done. His empire may have remained intact, but his pride had been shattered. The media had painted him as the jilted groom, the ruthless billionaire who couldn't keep his bride. Behind closed doors, his temper boiled. "Clara Whitmore humiliated me," he snarled to his assistant. "And this carpenter, what's his name, Ethan Cole, he thinks he can steal what's mine?" Nicholas's eyes darkened. "No, they haven't seen the last of me. I'll ruin him. I'll ruin them both." Whispers of love. Meanwhile, Clara's bond with Ethan deepened. One evening as they tucked Lily into bed, Clara lingered in the doorway. "You're an incredible father," she whispered. Ethan shrugged, embarrassed. "I'm just doing my best." She smiled softly. "Your best is more than enough." Their eyes locked, the air between them thick with unspoken feelings. Ethan cleared his throat, retreating to the living room, but Clara followed. "Ethan," she said gently, "you've given me a home when I had nowhere to go. You protected me when you had every reason to send me away. And somewhere along the way, you gave me back my heart." Ethan's breath caught. For 3 years he had kept his heart locked away, convinced he could never love again. But Clara's presence had rekindled something he thought was lost forever. "Clara," he murmured, his voice rough. "I don't know if I can give you the kind of life you're used to." She stepped closer, her hand brushing his. "I don't want the life I had, I want this."